Hello and welcome to The Wave of Things. Today I have a very special guest, Greg Weir. I think many of you might know him because Greg is everywhere somehow, musically. Greg is known to be a very likable character, and he's involved in a lot of music projects. He loves to comment on and share music of his friends. So, Greg, I'm very happy to have you here on the show. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
People may know me from UIU from a while ago, and Truck Stop Alien, and now my black metal project BLACNK. So probably around 2017-ish was probably when I'd sort of come across a lot of the wave scene and through doing UIU. And that was just me in my bedroom while I was studying, with just trying to do stuff in my holidays and stuff like that. So, and obviously met a load of people through Facebook, and it just sort of, I thought, oh, well, there's a world of people that like this type of music, and it's not in my country. And so, yeah, it was actually really good. So I got a really good education, I suppose, in what's happening around the world. So the beauty of the internet.
What does UIU mean?
I met an old war veteran who was an old fighter pilot, and he was with a squadron, and it had a Latin name which kind of meant, I think it was, I don't quote me on this, but it was something like Altar in Umbris, and it meant avenging in the shadows or something. And I thought avenging in the shadows kind of sounded like a 90s screamo band or something. So I thought that doesn't really sound good. So I just thought the UIU was just, yeah, but it was just kind of, yeah, just came across that like that. Names essentially don't really sort of have a really aesthetic meaning. It's just if it sounds good, then yeah, but that's how it came across. Yeah, I think you're the first person I've told that to as well.
Oh,
I used to say it was unicorns. I used to say it was unicorns in underwear, and people, oh yeah, okay. So it was just like, but it wasn't that.
But now you have also a project with a peculiar name, let's say, Truck Stop Alien.
Yes.
So this is your main project right now?
Yeah, definitely. So that's me and Bell, and we sort of take a different approach to recording. So a lot of that's done essentially ad lib, just jamming for like 2 hours straight, and then sort of during the week I'll go and cut all of those rehearsals up into little bite-sized pieces, and then the next weekend we'll go and lay vocals on them. And I think, and we generally ad lib that as well, so it does have a kind of natural flow. There's no structure where it's just all real time. It's very hard to replicate. We actually tried to figure out how to play some of these songs, and I think there's about 3 that we could. But yeah, they're very, because it's ad lib and you're hitting bum notes and going off in wrong directions, it's quite exciting in that way to kind of interpret vocals over as well. Yeah, but that's got a good name too. That was actually, we were traveling with another band called Whitefawn, and we stayed in this truck stop. It was empty when we got there, and we went to sleep, and then like there was this god awful noise at about 3 a.m, and we woke up, and it was like Mos Eisley in Star Wars, and there was like 600 trucks around or something, all these lights going out. It's just like, and so we decided this is kind of like an alien spaceport, and then we just kind of cracked up and said Truck Stop Alien, and we actually held on to that for a few years before we used it. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one to remember. A question, maybe you don't even know the answer of, how many releases do you have with Truck Stop Alien?
Yeah, true, I don't know. There's quite a few. Maybe there's 5 rows on Bandcamp. Maybe we do that. So was there 4 in a row? So 20-ish, but...
in 2 years, how long?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. So we actually sort of started out as not playing. We were just a jam band, essentially. I think I was on drums at the time, and Bell was playing guitar. And we were just playing this god-awful punk noise, just ad-libbing as we went. But we just kind of, because we both had synths, we just decided to use the synthesizers instead. But we said, oh, well, let's keep it the same. Let's just jam. and just keep it as a jam band. So I've always said it's kind of like Grateful Dead or Jefferson Airplane, but with synths sort of thing. It just has that feel to it. So yeah.
Yeah, I know that you have a lot of influences. You listen to a lot of different kinds of music. And recently you had a turn to, unexpectedly, to black metal.
Yes.
With your band BLACNK. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. Nor do I. It was never meant to be pronounced.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I think I said in another interview there was no verbal equivalent. It was actually a typo.
I've heard that interview.
Yeah.
The typo. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it was never meant to be said, and then so now I've got to say it. So like I say it different ways each time, but it looks good written, and it kind of looks good when you said. But when you say it, it just sounds like the mess it is. But I suppose that's what it is, isn't it? How
did you decide to go into black metal?
It was just in and out. I mean, like I'd liked black metal since I was in my teens, and I was into death metal and black metal, and I mean, and then I've sort of got into more psychedelic stuff. So I mean, I think psychedelic music and punk music's always been fairly prevalent with all. So most of the genres I like do have either the blend of that, and most of the projects I have a blend of punk and psychedelia or atmosphere and that. So black metal appeals to me for that reason, because of just the atmosphere more than the kind of technical bouncy metal or something like that. So, but I'd been in and out of phases, I suppose, in that, but I never actually did a project where I'd actually played it. So I don't know why, but I thought, oh, well, why not? You know, life's too short, art's too awesome. Why not start it? So yeah, I think it was good old Ray from Dos Faust as well, however you say that. He shared Mayhem's Death Crush last year sometime. And I thought, God, I haven't heard that for ages, like, and it just popped up. And so cheers, Ray, you've sent me down the rabbit hole.
Here we have some similarities, because also my band colleague Raymond is very much into black metal. And he puts in our music, Deus Faust, he puts some black metal elements into synthesizer music, which I always found very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. The first thing I noticed, I said that to Ray on the comment. I said, this is essentially metal riffs with synths. And he goes, oh, like, sort of surprising that you've said that, because I've been into black metal for ages. And so I thought that, yeah, it just clicked. It's just, yeah. Just to get some, you probably should do a remix CD and just do all tremolo guitars and blast beats and record it in a sock, and yeah, you'll be sweet. Hotspur's a good one.
Yeah, maybe.
Hotspur's got that great breakdown, yeah.
The surprising part is that you're actually very good in black metal, and you have received some good reviews also, some positive feedback on your black metal music.
Way good feedback's good, because you know people like it and it's always great to hear, but negative feedback is just that person didn't connect with it, and that doesn't really, I'm not making music for those people anyway, so it doesn't really mean a hell of a lot to get negative feedback, and some of it's quite hilarious. I did actually have some negative feedback. Someone said on one of the early ones that it sounded like Britpop with a guy singing with a sore throat or something like that. And I actually found that hilarious. I thought it was classic. So I had a good laugh out of that one.
We also have one collaboration in the works right now.
Yes.
Because maybe also many people don't know, I was a metalhead for most parts of my teens and a bit in the 20s. It was interesting for me to return a bit to this era of my music life. So let's see what will come out.
I'd be very similar to me as well. I had almost transgressed back to when I was, 18 and that, and it's quite a, being 45 now, it's not the kind of stuff your voice usually likes to sing, but it's but who cares? But obviously with the new album I've got coming out, done a collaboration with you on it, which got to hear tonight, which sounds excellent, and it will be excellent when it comes out, and is on the album, which is brilliant. So thank you for that too. That's awesome, and glad to see you've revisited some younger dabblings.
Some people said actually that we look very similar on some photos. Some friends of mine said on this picture, hey,
you got better hair.
You look like Greg Weir.
You got better hair. It's well kept. Mine's got a bit of age and thinning to it. There's a bit of stock take going on there somewhere.
Let's talk a bit about where you're from. I think we haven't mentioned that yet. You're from Australia, namely from the city of Perth, the most isolated city in the world. So
apparently.
So how does this feel when you live in such an isolated city?
I love Perth. I couldn't really imagine living anywhere else. I mean, I suppose with the pandemic, we've been quite lucky here. We've been pretty much back to normal life for about a year or something. And we go into sporadic lockdowns, like we just came out of one last week, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. But it's when you're considering what's going on around the world, you kind of consider yourself fairly lucky. But Perth's very spread out. So we're very lucky in that way. We're not a built up city with buildings on top of buildings. You know, houses have generally a good bit of land with them as well. And you can drive, 10 minutes from the city and be in the outer suburbs, and drive another 10 minutes and be almost, at the foothills, and then drive another sort of 20 minutes and you're almost regional sort of thing. So it's very accessible, all these different ecosystems, shall we say, the beach, the cities, the bush, and it's quite chilled and peaceful, which it suits me well. I don't need to be have to hustle and bustle, but yeah, I wouldn't live anywhere else.
But you're also very interested in European history, at least sometimes we talk about it.
Yeah.
But you haven't been outside Australia?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, never, no. Usually make a joke. We've got an island off West Australia called Rottnest Island, which, if you've seen all those quokka photos going around and people taking selfies, they're from that island. I think that's one of only 2 places in the world you find them. But that's what I say. Yeah, I've been overseas. I've been to Rottnest, so that's as far as I've been. I've left the shore, but that's as far as I've been.
So the other cities you know all on the East Coast?
Yeah, I've been everywhere except Sydney. I've been through New South Wales, but I haven't actually been to Sydney. But me and Belle lived in Brisbane for a while. Been to Adelaide, Melbourne. I played one UIU show in Melbourne. Yeah, so that was quite cool, because I didn't play any shows here. So I don't really play any shows anywhere. So it's
this is news to me. I didn't know you had concerts.
I had one, Mr. Detonic from Detonic Recordings. He put a UIU song out on a vinyl compilation, and I was going to visit parents because my parents live in Victoria. So I went over there, and he said, "Why are you here? Why not play a show as well?" And I thought, well, why not? So, but I don't actively go out and play shows. I don't generally enjoy them that much.
With Truckstop Alien, you plan to have some live shows or no?
We generally sort of live stream quite a bit. So, I mean, we were live streaming shows since about 2017, when Instagram first had a live feed. I think you got like 60 minutes and then it sort of disappeared. I think that was how they first kind of started. So we just started using that, just live streaming shows, a long time before COVID. Getting a load of gear, hauling it up, plugging it all in, plugging it all out, to play for 3 guys and a dog. It just doesn't excite me too much. You know what I mean?
Okay, back to your black metal story. I know several people that turned basically their back on wave music to refine the metal roots. But why do you think this is?
Oh, interesting. For me personally, I started finding wave music fairly restrictive. Yeah, you got your basic instruments and your basic sounds, and I don't know, there's a bit of a loss of feeling than having a guitar and bending notes and making sounds that you've actually got, I suppose, control of that you can feel sort of, and the electronic stuff. I mean, it's it's fantastic, and you get a totally different atmosphere and a totally different sound. And maybe that's why people go back, because there's that more primitive kind of sound, I suppose. And yeah.
Okay, my friends who turned away from wave music said it's too repetitive. The dark wave and synthwave
very much so.
is getting old.
Yeah, very much so. And the sound is if it goes out of wave, it's kind of ignored. You know, I know Truck Stop isn't the most popular kind of wave music. It's very psychedelic. It's more experimental on the side of things. It's but I know people like a good 4/4 4 to the floor, and then a bass arpeggio synth coming in and something they can dance to, and you know, real low down vocals. I mean, I remember getting feedback one time that my vocals were not low enough or not dark enough, and it was just like, that's not how I sing. You know, I sing a different way. That sort of restriction there, where it's kind of got to fit into something, that doesn't really appeal to me as well. I like people just to throw whatever they've got on and to do it and just say, well, this is music and it's what it is. So yeah, there's a certain template in most genres and probably most subgenres as well that have got that thing. I find definitely with wave scene, if there's no kind of Joy Division, Sisters of Mercy, Cure element to it, it's probably not as popular. And you know, but with black metal, I mean, even when you've got that second wave, you know, those sort of main three of sort of Dark Throne, Mayhem, and Burzum all sound totally different. You know, they're but you know, the sort of, you do have with, you know, Sisters of Mercy, Joy Division, and Cure sound very different as well. But there's kind of a relationship with the black metal bands. But those ones, I mean, I think the Cure to me sounded like a pop band. I mean, I used to crack up laughing when people would say it was dark, because I only just understood it as a, I know you've got those early albums, but it was just a very listenable music. You know what I mean? It didn't evoke a darkness in me or whatever like that. And I just found, yeah, that Joy Division, yeah, that is bleak. You know, I sort of have trouble believing people listen to Joy Division constantly, because I'm just thinking that you just can't. I don't know. I can't. I mean, you get through 3 songs, I'm like, dude, this is dark. You know, this is you know, I don't want to be buried down here too much longer, sort of thing. So yeah, it's a very real bleakness. And I really have, I like the idea of what Joy Division is. I love Martin Hannett's production, how he's taken that sound and made it into that, and the guys being able to flip into New Order, you know, and make just an iconic band out of one that they'd already departed from.
Recently, this Saturday, we had a Depeche Mode party here, and Czechia and Slovakia, they have a huge Depeche Mode scene. And those people all very kind and nice, but they listen to nothing else than Depeche Mode.
It's a fair catalogue though, isn't it?
Yeah, they have enough albums and enough hits, but the whole night was just Depeche Mode. No? I enjoyed it and no problem, but I couldn't listen to it every day.
When I heard Depeche Mode was a dark band, I mean, growing up in the 80s, I mean, they were on the radio with, you know, ABC and AHA and everything like that. So it was to go Depeche Mode or a dark band or a goth band or something and associated with that.
Okay, Depeche Mode has a lot of industrial elements in, with the anvils, with the hammer. They have some EBM sound.
Oh, that was genius. Yeah.
The topics, BDSM, suicide. So they have darker themes they sing about. I'm not sure if every radio listener is aware of that.
Say those themes that just slip under the radar at those times, and because it was covered in a nice polished sound and a good catchy lick and something you could dance to, you know, I think what they were singing about kind of slipped probably most people by. It certainly did me when I was at that age. I mean, I didn't, you know, really go too much into it, but I suppose I don't go too much into lyrics in general. So maybe that's just me. I do have a podcast as well. It's called Art Life Existence, because in here for my job, I'm a counsellor, and I use generally existential therapy, so very sort of meaning-based therapy. So I like, because of the musical interest I have and the history of how my favorite artists have done that stuff, because I've got access to so many wonderful artists, I decided to try and interview them and see what art means to them. So it's not really an interest in the the mechanical side of what they do. It's more the meaning of what they do means to them, how everything developed for them, how they feel about it, and it contributes to their life. So that comes out when I'm not busy enough to be able to get one recorded. So and that's been really good. I've done a couple episodes, one with Eleanor X from the US and Paris Alexander from England. So touched a couple of sides of the world, and yeah, very interesting to hear what people have to say about what they do and what they love about it. That's the most important thing.
Greg, I have to go, but it was very nice to talk with you. I think we should continue.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Some general music talk.
Yes, around a cafe setting, with some nice candles.
Yeah, with some craft beers. Yeah, because you also
craft beers. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, we've got a lot in common that we should all link up. Music history talk, craft beers, and European history.
Yeah, you
can teach me about that.
Awesome. Good, Greg Weir. Thank you very much for this talk.
Many thanks, Andre. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye bye. Ciao.
Take care, mate. Thank you.